Hello, everybody. This is Sid Saladi here. I work as a product manager for Best Buy. So today we are going to discuss about Coinbase and crypto markets in general. So it's going to be an interesting topic. It's been very dear to my heart. I've been kind of evangelist of Web3, and I've been studying Web3 for a long time. So let's see how the discussion goes here. So I would also want to welcome Fanny with me here. So Fanny, do you want to introduce yourself?
Yep, absolutely. Yeah, very interesting topic said. Hi everyone, this is Funny. I'm a product manager at Intuit. I would consider myself as a novice in cryptocurrency, but I have been working on like few initiatives within Intuit, so I have some preliminary knowledge of how the cryptocurrency market works, what's going on in the world and stuff. So super excited for the chat.
Yeah. So it's maybe this would be a discussion between a maker and a consumer, right? So you're actually working to build a product and maybe extracting some pain points the user needs from me, and I'm telling what I want from the user. But that'll be exciting. So Funny, maybe in a layman's term, right? So if I would want to ask you, how would you define uh, crypto in general, crypto or Web3 in general? So what comes to your mind? Maybe after you give, I'll give my version of that.
Yep. So cryptocurrencies in general, right? So let's start with why they are born. So the history that I know of, or that I read probably some time back, is this originated probably in like 1990s or something like that, where someone put a white paper defining why we should have like virtual currencies and what are the pain points for that. But it never came into existence until 2009, 2008, 2009-ish, when there was like a huge market crash. And at that time, there was a paper published by Satoshi, if I'm not wrong. And
Satoshi Nakamoto. Yeah.
yeah, and the primary concept there is we'll look at something called mining, and through the mining, we'll build the cryptocurrencies that build platform on how we can get the digital currencies. And that's how it came into place. And from that time onwards, it started with Bitcoin, which is what was published at that time. And now, if I'm not wrong, there are like hundreds of cryptocurrencies, hundreds of coins that consumers are trying to use for different purposes. And it solves a very basic problem of decentralized currency across different countries. Right now, there are several regulations that are dictated by the countries, and bigger nations doesn't have this problem because their currencies are valued well. But there are several countries who don't have like proper technology systems or proper banks that can serve these basic needs of having like basic checking accounts, savings accounts, and stuff. And cryptocurrencies are the primary way that can be solvable, that can solve all of these problems in those countries. That's how I
Perfect.
start seeing it, at least.
Yeah,
What
perfect. Yeah, I think that definitely covers a piece of it. So uh, I've been really curious, right? A lot of people talk about cryptocurrency, but I think only 5% understand it. And even the people who understanding have different definitions to it, because it's not easy to understand thing for a common man, right? So there are a lot of people who are not able to explain it in a way which you have explained it, right? So, or I'll explain it. So I think it's a technology which has to be understood, but based on the research I've done, so I think this basically came out from the 2008 financial crisis, where most of the wealth in the nation is controlled by governments, right? So citizens pay taxes, but for that, government provides you security, it provides you roads, infrastructure, and all of that stuff, and it gives a lot of different things. But sometimes when governments have too much leverage and they can control the monetary policy, they tend to, five or six people or maybe 10 people sitting in the Fed room tend to control the whole policy for all the people here. So I think crypto came out from that place where each individual has to have the power to regulate himself, rather than being in the discretion of a government managing the funds, right? You can think about a lot of failed governments like El Salvador and all of these things who's who have hyperinflation, and all of that stuff. So because maybe US is the top economy, people might not know how important it is for governments to maintain this. There are a lot of failed governments. So I think cryptocurrency kind of came in from that policy here. But I feel that the technology itself is pretty good, right? Like when you look at blockchain, it's basically a ledger, right? Decentralized ledger where you enter transactions, and there are a lot of use cases for that. So let's maybe take the example of Bitcoin here. Bitcoin is mostly used for payments transactions, right? So there are like 100 different decentralized systems that basically verify these transactions and enter it into ledger. So how are these people incentivized to do that? They are given Bitcoin in the form of mining to maintain the infrastructure. So so that's basically centralizing a lot of different things, right? And efficiency, kicking in a lot of efficiencies. Let's maybe look at an example of how banks work. So Bank of America, Cash, or PayPal, and all of these banks have a lot of infrastructure to maintain the funds, manage the transactions, and all of that stuff. And all the money that is being put in to maintain this stuff is basically being charged to the customer, right? So imagine you're saving $10,000 in the bank, and what does bank give you? Like 0.2% of it, right? But the bank can actually lend it 7 times to other people to earn interest on it, which it's spending on infrastructure, paying the CEOs, and all of that stuff. But imagine you have a decentralized payment transaction settling system, which all banks use. All of this go into like no cost at all, right? Because the economy pays for itself. So I think that philosophy is pretty strong, but people don't understand the philosophy, and they basically want to make this a quick rich kind of a scheme where they invest and earn money and all of that stuff. But taking the history apart, I feel that this is a pretty strong place for us to be in. And there are a lot of use cases for cryptocurrency, right? So one is Bitcoin, as we talked, and there is also Ethereum, right? Ethereum is basically not a currency, but Ethereum is providing you with a platform to develop applications. So something like an app store. So what do you do? So how do you pay back by utilizing the hardware? You pay them in Ethereum. So the more people who are developing apps in Ethereum, the more the price of Ethereum increases. So I think there are a lot of different economies which can be created. So I would leave it at that point. I think if you want to, we could go into multiple directions in this area, but I'd say it's a strong philosophy there, and hope this technology goes forward in this stuff. So maybe let's get into the use cases a bit. Funny. So when you get into use cases of cryptocurrency, right? What you can think of?
At least the top ones that I know of, right? So very prominent one is definitely the cryptocurrencies itself. Like taking blockchain as a technology that supports all of this, cryptocurrencies in general is the first thing, like where customers can use the currencies to like do money transfer, do payments, etc. Thinking beyond this, right? So let's say, like you said, Ethereum helps us create in smart contracts, which basically helps the customer like build apps or like build some logic on top of it. What is that solving for? So for example, a lot of them can use this for like regular contracts. So for example, let's say you're buying a home, that is a tedious process in itself, because you are involving like multiple third parties that needs to understand both the parties contract, sign an agreement, which basically is stored somewhere. After 10 years you might not even be able to find it, etc. There is no centralized system to store any of these documents, to store any of these contracts and agreements and stuff. Be it your college degree, which is sitting with your university, which is not in a centralized system. So all of this can be solved through blockchains and smart contracts like Ethereum. Like you will have a token that can be utilized to retrieve your college degree. Imagine a situation where you're going somewhere else and you need it. By click of a button, you will be able to retrieve that. Or the same thing with your apartment agreements or like home agreements or any new purchases, land deals, or if you want to like build a company on its own, all of this can be solved by that. I think few other things that I heard about is supply chain. So for example, right, let's say if you're building a product, you might be working with like 15 other suppliers to get a lot of goods, but you don't know how they're manufacturing it. You don't know how they're producing it. Are they causing any harm to the nature? Are they causing any harm to animals? So all of this can be tracked through a centralized database or a centralized technology that can track end to end within a supply chain. I've heard
That's
few
right.
other cases for like medicine and others as well.
Yeah, I think that's a very interesting point which you brought up, right? The first one is basically you're saying, so Ethereum is basically something like an AWS or a computer, a big computer, right? Where you're renting a piece of it to code something, do something, and giving Ethereum for that, right? And also when you go look at these use cases of food, right? Uh, Now when you go in and buy a fruit, you don't know what is going inside, what kind of seed is there, what kind of fertilizers go inside, and all of that stuff, right? If you actually track that through blockchain, which is tamper proof, you know what you're eating. Because I believe in the fact that you are what you eat, right? So, and also you are what your food eats, right?
Mhm.
Obviously, right? So you never know what your food is fed. So this, all of this transparency will help with. So
That's
I
true.
also have some more use cases. I feel the biggest use case here in terms of economies of scale is DeFi, funny. So I feel that, as I said, right, imagine, these banks giving our lending our money 7 times and earning interest. What if you could get part of a piece of that? I think that's what is happening with staking, right? Now I use Gemini app, I get 7% in return. That's nowhere in the industry, right? So you, in the US, it's basically 0.1% or 0.2%. That's 10x or 20x the value which you're getting. You're just putting your money there. And there is also a concept of decentralized autonomous organization, which is basically managed by the group, which is also a blockchain. And people can actually uh, manage cryptocurrencies, manage banks, everything through a decentralized organization. I know there are a lot of inefficiencies, but this is a point to look at, right? So that is one use case. And NFTs are another use case. Metaverse gaming is another use case. Internet of Things is another use case. Sometimes government voting is also another use case, because this is tamper free.
That's true.
Identity, right? You can basically have your own identity and have your own economy of coins, where if people want to, maybe let's imagine a medical company wants to test against your data, it would basically pay you for that. So identity is a product here. And music, right? Now imagine an artist creating music. Record labels, YouTube, all of these platforms take a lot of check into that. What if that's a decentralized organization, and your music, you get the money directly from the people itself? There's no one who's regulating stuff and creating a platform. There is music, there's art, and there's also creator economy for entertainment. So a lot of use cases, I'd say, but the prominent use cases as of now are DeFi, as we can think about. So yeah, any other comments? Sorry.
No, this is great. One, there's a lot of great thoughts on this, right? So there is so many things that you can do. Where are we right now is a big question. So a lot of people are like losing money. A lot of people are trying to do things without any knowledge, just because Coinbase shows that okay, this coin went up by like 150% in the last 1 week. People just buy. A lot of pump and dump schemes are happening in all of these coins and stuff.
Yeah,
It,
I'll actually, on a funnier note, I'll give you one of my friend was actually asking me if I could invest in Shibu and all of that stuff. And he was saying that I'll maybe invest $1,000 or something like that. And he was saying it was, I think, 0.01 cents or something. And you're saying that it'll get to $1. So there are basically, I think, 100 trillion coins. So if it were to go to $1, it is basically the GDP of the world. I think that is next to impossible, right? So, so that's how people basically think about cryptocurrencies. It's a quick get quick rich scheme kind of thing. But I think there is a lot of backing in the back, where it is still, we are touching the surface of the ocean. And I feel that this is the initial stages of the dot-com boom, and the next 10 to 20 years, where the whole industry gets more streamlined. There are more efficiencies, and also at this point, most of it is proof of work, right? There's no proof of stake. So proof of work is more of solving a puzzle and settling the transaction to get the reward, instead of if it moves to proof of work, there is more efficiency and more gains and all of that stuff. And I think people will start see the efficiencies. Yeah.
There are a few currencies that are currently doing it, right? I think Solana is on that.
Ethereum is actually moving. The new date is October 15th, I guess. They were telling it since last year, but now it's October 15th. So that's a good thing there.
Yep. And that's also another thing, right? So even when you're initially telling that the people who are actually maintaining this are getting the cryptocurrencies, that's also bad in a way, right? So basically, just because someone is creating something, you're giving them a Bitcoin or so, which is basically like $60,000. And because it's proof of work, it's causing a lot of environmental issues. I know it's a controversial
So
in the world.
yeah, I think what they're doing is, so all of these blockchain settlings and all of this needs to run through some infrastructure or the other. So these guys are providing you the infrastructure, and they're basically, the incentive for them to provide the infrastructure is them for them to get paid, right? So
But see the initial topic that you brought up. So, for example, a financial institution is taking that benefit of it. So, for example, let's take Chase. I mean, let's say I'm keeping like $1,000 in Chase. Just a random example, right? I don't pay any fees unless and until I incur some kind of issues. And at the same time, I'm getting like very little interest. That's the thing that we lose. But let's say because of proof of work or whatever was happening in the past, that entire money is basically is being given to a developer. Okay, whoever is building the blockchain, at least in the current state. And I don't know if you observed or not, right? Right now, the fees in order for you to get your transaction done on a blockchain is extremely high, especially for Bitcoin and Ethereum. And instead of paying a bank, you're basically paying the price here. And there was one interesting that I have seen in one of our presentations is how does the money get transferred? Just to just for the context, how does the money get transferred in the traditional world? Okay, I have a bank. Let's say you have a bank. There are, let's say, a couple of payment processors in between. Let's say you're working with Visa or MasterCard or whatever. You do a transaction that goes to your credit card company. That credit card company basically works with like Visa or MasterCard or someone to do the transaction, and then keeps it. Or let's say you're doing a money transfer. Your Chase works with Visa, and that Visa works with my Visa or my Visa or MasterCard or whatever. And then mine works with my bank, and I get the money. So there is like 4 systems involved. Now let's take cryptocurrency, right? We are still in a world where the fiat currencies or the regular currencies are the ones that are still valued. So there are more systems now. So you use Coinbase. Coinbase uses someone to do a money transfer like USD to Bitcoin, and then in order for that to go back again, it goes back again to Chase. Chase used with another system. Another system goes to another system, and that goes to my account. So right now, the infrastructure in the world is not optimized with the cryptocurrencies. If you see it, you're
that's right.
adding more systems, more fees in order for us to do a money transfer.
Yeah, that's absolutely true, because I think, but I think over time it gets efficient, right? So you're talking about the gas fees and all. So if I have to transfer $100 through Ethereum blockchain, it costs me $80-$90 now. But there are also side chains like level 2 chains which are being built like Polygon and all. So what they do is they basically take this transaction, settle it in a different chain, and then report it back here. So the settling happens in a different place, and the cost of the transaction is now down to 10 cents to $1. So all of these are efficiencies which are coming in, but I think it's a far game, right, than a shorter term game, right, where I feel that 10 to 20 years is where it actually takes to reach all the efficiencies and all of that stuff. So imagine, right, if you were to build a Facebook and Ethereum, would you be able to do it? No, it cannot handle that so many millions of transactions. Even Cash App, even PayPal, right? Only Bitcoin is able to handle so many, but also the fees is very high there. So if you are able to build something like that, where the recommendation engine is maintained by people, not by the company, so there's no bias, that will be a really ideal case scenario for a lot of people, right? Where your privacy is controlled by yourself, recommendation is controlled by the community and things like that.
In a long term, I definitely see that benefit too. But again, this is again a lot of hypothesis. The way
Yep,
the
that's right.
world runs is based on how you put the money. And when someone is putting money into something, they're basically expecting that returns. So I imagine this, right? In the last at least 8 years or so that I'm in US, I've never paid a penny or a dollar to transfer money. But if I need to transfer money in cryptocurrencies, the moment I need to transfer, I'm paying money for it. So
And
right now the world is that way, but hopefully it comes back to at least what do you say, baseline of not making the customer pay for it. Let's see.
perfect. Yeah, I absolutely agree on the the fees, right? They keep the high fees we charge. So maybe let's also segue into the actual product here, Funny.
Yep.
So yeah, so this is a big economy. There are a lot of different things and all of that stuff. And suddenly Coinbase comes in and emerges as something saying, okay, I'll be a custodian of your currency. I'll let you have a wallet, transfer in and out cryptocurrencies, and also exchange them and trade them. And that's where they've been building this since I think so many years, right? Last like 5 or 10 years, and Coinbase comes in. So what is your take on Coinbase at this point?
Actually, couple of definitions, right? Just for everyone to understand, what is a wallet? A wallet, in a very simple terms, is something that you can store your money in. There could be different types of wallets. There could be hot or cold wallets in a simple way. Cold wallets are something that you store in like a USB. So, for example, this is what Ledger wallet. And then let's say there are hot wallets, which are basically online wallets like Coinbase wallet or MetaMask and stuff. And let's think of like what Coinbase does, right? Um, Coinbase is basically an exchange very similar to Robinhood. Okay. And all they basically do is they create nodes in each of these blockchains so that you can do some kind of transactions within that. Coinbase was able to do that because they initially they understood the blockchains at a very early stage, and before anyone could create APIs and stuff, they were able to create an infrastructure. And now that infrastructure is available through like multiple apps, multiple exchanges, etc., etc. But they're very early into the game, so that's one of the best things that they did. Yep.
Yeah.
Sorry. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Yeah. I was like, what was your take on Coinbase? I think fair point, right? Whichever you're talking about.
Coinbase is a good app for a new, especially for someone who doesn't know what to do or how to, or someone who wants to explore cryptocurrencies, right? That's an excellent app to start with. But there are a lot of things that I personally would improve on it, because when I started using it, right, it was useful. It's like, okay, what is a Bitcoin? What is an Ethereum? How do I use it? Like my identity management, like can I get authorized faster? Can I do money transfer faster? It came a long way. Initially, it used to take like few days for me to put money into it. Now at least it happens in a much faster way. So that way, I think for newbies, it's a good app to start with.
Yeah, that's right. So my feeling is like, the concept even is very difficult to understand, right? Like what is blockchain and all of that stuff. And I think Coinbase basically made it really, really easy, and also made a intuitive UI for people to understand and do transactions for just one use case. I think they started with one use case. And also compared to other products in crypto, right? You see how the products are like, most of the products in crypto are, they don't have any UX, right? Your experience, no, the UI is very clunky, and you have a lot of options. It's almost like the Android of things, and maybe Coinbase comes from the Apple and making it easy kind of philosophy. So I feel it, they are a really good entrant at that point. And also I feel that somehow using Coinbase makes me feel safe. I don't know why I get that feeling, but looking at how other products are designed, I feel Coinbase is much safer, and kind of maintain most of my portfolio in Coinbase. So that's my first feeling at looking at Coinbase.
That's nice. Yeah, I'm on the same page as well. And if we think of the additional features also, right? There, one they started as a trading platform. but now they're also giving you a wallet that you can store any of the other data. So which basically means they're not just looking at coin trades. You can, I mean, the crypto trades. You can also store your NFTs into that. You can store all of your DAOs or any of the smart contracts that you create, anything into it. So that becomes one centralized place. And one more interesting thing about Coinbase is their focus on institutional customers. So as an end customer, do you care about how the APIs are built? What is the backend infrastructure? Nothing. But there are several institutions that want to build crypto capabilities, but it's not an easy thing to do. So what they're trying to do is they're trying to build simplified APIs that can be used by anyone. So they don't have to build the infrastructure on their own. And the entire fintech world actually runs that way. Everyone wants to do certain things, but they don't want to go through the entire hassle of building the infrastructure. And Coinbase focusing on that is also a great thing because they're not just focusing on a consumer to get the revenue, but they're also working with the bigger players in the industry to share some of the revenue out of it.
Yeah, and also maybe we were also talking before, right, that the biggest problem or the user need from the crypto point of view is because it's complex understanding it, right? So how are we solving that? So I think Coinbase comes in from has a couple of different offerings in that space where it makes it easy for the user to use, right? So maybe when you look at the UI, I'd say the first UI, right, buy and send. So you have just two tabs, buy and send, buy and sell, right? So there's nothing visible on the screen.
Do you want to share your app and show that might be easier?
Yeah, I can share my app.
While you open that, what is that feature that the Coinbase has? Is it Coinbase Bytes or something, which gives you daily feeds and any updates on crypto world and everything? What is that called?
Yeah, I think, yeah, something like a newsletter.
So can you hear me?
Right. Screen.
I'm still. Oh yeah. Yep.
You can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, perfect. So yeah,
for a little bit, but I can hear you now.
okay, perfect. So I like the way which they have. So this is a new account. I'm actually not using my account, but so they have simple things, right, like buy, sell, send, convert, and receive. I think that those are the primary things which the user needs. So they're basically saying, okay, first thing you enter the app, you see buy, sell, send, convert, and receive, right? So that's a pretty intuitive way of doing it. And the next one is, let's maybe go into one of the cryptocurrency which you want to buy. As soon as you go, it's taking a while to load. Yeah. Normally, when you look at the competitors out there, they have like a lot of graphs and all for, you could do technical analysis, so many pointers and all of that stuff. But I think the novice user doesn't need all of that stuff, right? So I think he's basically they're eliminating all that clutter and just showing you, okay, what is the weekly increase, monthly increase, yearly, and all. So that's as simple as it is. And then you basically have the details about performance, and I think they're basically eliminating all the additional stuff which you might want and some market news about that specific thing.
Yep.
Yeah. So maybe let's divide the users into novice user, intermediate user, and power users, right? I think this is an app which is built for a beginner, right? So let's maybe see how a beginner thinks of, right? If I'm a beginner, maybe you come to me saying, okay, hey Sid, check out Bitcoin, it's growing. So then I ask you, okay, where do I buy it? Then you say Coinbase. Then okay, maybe register an account, go search for Bitcoin, see what the price is, then look at these things, maybe read a couple of articles here, and then start buying it. It's as simple as it, right? To kind of remove that. So what's your take on that?
Yeah, I totally agree. Even I'm just looking through the app as you talk through it, right? I
Okay, perfect.
agree that for a novice, it is novice or an early user, it's primarily built for them. But they're also trying to move towards the power customers as well. Have you used the app Coinbase Pro?
Yeah, I've used Coinbase Pro.
So one interesting fact, I didn't know it at least in the initial stages, right? So when you buy Bitcoin through Coinbase, you let's say pay $1. I'm just giving an example. But if you use Coinbase Pro, it's 15 cents. Okay, just giving an example. The same cryptocurrency through the same platform by the same company makes you charge differently. And they have a lot of these power tools that were built on Coinbase Pro. I don't know what was their initial strategy of like splitting the products, but now they're trying to bring all of these products into Coinbase as well. So
Okay.
they started with the novice customers in Coinbase, and they started Coinbase Pro for like pro customers. But now they're trying to maybe they're understanding that okay, now the customers have more knowledge, or maybe they're seeing a trend where the novice customers might not be sticking with Coinbase. So now they're trying to bring in the power tools from the Coinbase Pro into Coinbase as well, just to make the customer stick. I don't know.
I think that's a really good observation, Fanny. So I think even in my day life, right, I have a lot of decisions which I have to take. So imagine if I were the PM for Coinbase, right? What would I decide? Would I build these features into the same app or a different app? I think that's when we go back to our customer and see, okay, what our customers want. And maybe for the novice customer, it's basically the general app. And for the pro customer, it's uh, the uh, the Coinbase Pro app. And maybe once we observe that there are enough people who are knowledgeable on the customer, that's when maybe Coinbase is migrating some of the pro features to Coinbase, right? So that could be a strategy which maybe they are taking. But putting the product manager's hat on, I'm trying to think what might have been the strategy and how are these guys playing it.
Actually, can you scroll through the app once? Can you go to the top of the app? Let's see what do you see?
So it's basically, I think I just signed up. I think it's initially like learn more, explore, create a watch list kind of thing. So there's also another feature which I like, Funny. So there is this place where you actually have learning rewards. You go into that. So I think it's
Actually,
not here.
before you go there, right?
Yeah,
The reason I asked you for this question is personalization. Okay. So this account is a new customer's account. So that's the reason they're showing you, okay, welcome, learn about all these things. These are the basic capabilities available, etc. Go into a customer who has been with Coinbase a little bit more, right? It's much more personalized here without even me doing anything. Okay, the top banners that you would see right now, do you want to try advanced trading? Or do you want to pay lower fees for transactions? Okay,
yeah,
now,
yeah,
so
yeah.
what they're trying to do is based on the customer's stage of cryptos, they are trying to personalize the experience so that they'll continue to engage with the app.
That's right. So what you're meant to say is based on the point at you are in your user journey. So the app is basically customizing the features, and so that's pretty very interesting, right? So because everybody has their own customized experience rather than dumping all the different features into the user, right? So that's a really interesting observation, I'd say.
Actually, uh, I want to add one more thing. I know last time we were discussing about gamification, right? Uh,
Mhm.
Probably a side topic. Maybe we should also think about the sections. Okay, coming back to gamification, right? Every app has a different way of gamifying and keeping the customers. I think that's where you are going to the rewards and everything, where you learn something, you get some kind of coins, and then you stay with the app.
That's right. So I think let me tell you a story, right? So initially didn't know anything. I started investing back in 2014 something, right? I didn't know what cryptocurrencies was. I just entered for the greed of investing, right? But as this is a really interesting piece where you go for the learning rewards. It's basically not visible now, but it shows you a piece of content, and you basically have to go through a quiz, and then it gives you cryptocurrency. So that's basically benefiting the user and also the institution, right? So it's basically a free marketing campaign for them.
Let
And
me share my screen and show it to you. I think
okay, yeah, I can stop sharing.
this is what I see in my Coinbase account, right? So this is what you're showing, the learning rewards.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Yeah. So
Go
yeah,
ahead.
I actually did that project Galaxy before, like 1 week back. Yeah. So you actually earn money, right? So if I go into my account, I think I have like close to $100 which I earned through going through this. So it's, you know, you could basically skip through and select any question till you get it right. You could do it that way. You could game the gamified system. Or if you're really genuinely interested, for me, I'm genuinely interested in cryptocurrency, understanding the use cases. So I go through all of that, but it has pretty bite-sized details. So I think it's again tying back to the overall problem of complexity, and they're trying to solve it through this offering here, educating people, right?
Got it. And one more thing you see here is additional things also, right? Like you can borrow cash, Coinbase card, earning interest, etc. They're expanding all of their portfolio into the other things as well. Learn is one of the biggest things that I've seen for sure, because
Yeah.
at the end of the day, it's the engagement. I mean, as a product manager, what I would want to do, or what is my method, is to help the customers continue to like go or improve on their crypto journey and do additional things. But one thing that I don't like with these guys, I don't know why they ended up with a Coinbase debit card.
I'm a big fan of that. Let me talk after you say.
No, go ahead, go ahead. Let's see. Let's see
Yeah.
what.
So for me, right, I think this is a really good way for investing for me, right? So what I've been doing lately is moving all of my expenses into Coinbase card because it's giving me 4% cash back in cryptocurrency. And so that's the first thing. Cashback is first thing, and second thing is, if I have a credit card, I have a limit of 20-30,000. But if I basically send 3 to 4 thousand every month to this card, I only spend that money, right? So that's also, sometimes it might not work, right? People might still keep doing money, but it makes me more conscious of what I'm doing, and also help me earn money back in the technology which I like and I support, right? So
Why not a credit card? Why do you think they went with a debit card? Keeping a PM hat, right? Why is a debit card better than a credit card?
yeah, I'm not sure why they did it, because I've actually also looked at other offerings which people do, right? There is crypto.com which offers like heavy cashbacks and all of that stuff, but I uh, was not satisfied, or I didn't have that safety feeling which I normally have with Coinbase. So that's why by default, you know what, I did it, and I have actually told this to like 5 or 6 of my friends to do this, and they've been doing this too. So till now I've maybe got $600 or $700 of cashback on Coinbase rewards, which the cryptocurrency is also increasing, right? So
Got it. Nice.
yeah. So
Yeah,
what was your take on that?
I took the debit card, but I don't know. So based on my knowledge, right, one of the pain points as a person is maintaining multiple accounts. So I have my old account. I think I got Chase account sometime back. And I have a BCU account with my auto loan, etc. So there's some rules I had at the time where I had to like move that money there. So if I need to move that money into another account and spend from there, that's a pain. And I need to add this account to like multiple places so that I can do my regular payments, mortgage payments, etc. Okay.
You can set up a recurring payment in Coinbase normally. So
Exactly.
uh,
So you're doing one additional step of moving things. So even though it's been a year, I took the debit card, but I never used it.
oh, yeah,
On the other,
yeah. Go ahead. Sorry.
on the other hand, so if I think of a credit card, so think of keeping PM hat, right? Okay. So if I have a customer who has money, if I would I give him a debit card or would I give him a credit card? Okay. Again, the customer profile might be different. Okay. If you're looking at a customer profile who has, what do we call, in Mint, we call those customers are like prime plus customers. Prime or prime plus customers use their credit card a lot. Okay. But customers who have like lower credit profiles use debit cards. Okay. So when you are going to a customer whose target customer is a prime or a prime plus, give them a nice credit card, and that guy spends a lot on credit card, which eventually benefits you because you get a lot of money sitting in your account, and at the same time the customer is also getting benefited because of the rewards. Same thing applies to a debit card as well, but the only thing that I saw is that initial hesitation of like moving all of their current setup to a completely new checking or a debit card.
So yeah, maybe let me. I'll put my product manager's hat first and talk about some points, and then customer hat. When I put my product manager's hat, right? So maybe one possible thing, just like trying to play bad cop, good cop, right? One possible thing which the product manager or the product person might have thought is, normally in the US, average savings account money is $7,000. So that's into 300 million, right? What if people who are really who evangelize cryptocurrency think Coinbase is a bank and store that money? So there's a lot of liquidity which Coinbase can get through that, and they can basically use that money for staking for different assets and all of that stuff. That was one of the thought process why I was thinking a PM might have Coinbase might have opted for debit card instead of a credit card. But this is just me guessing and thinking about on the PM hat. So from the consumer side, right, there are also a lot of drawbacks for this. The first thing, the biggest drawback is, I'm a big fan of personal finance and maintaining a budget. So Mint basically helps me do that, and I can connect my credit card to Mint to track all of that. With Coinbase, I cannot track my transactions. So how would I measure my expenses, right? So if I link all my credit cards, basically Mint tells me I'm spending this much for shopping, this much for food, this much for rent. But if I spend all of this in Coinbase, I basically have to manually do it. So it's a very tedious process for me. So that's one limitation from my side. The second limitation is, for a credit card, you have this fraud backing by banks, right? If the money is basically detected by mistake, or you have a problem with the device, you have these incentives from credit card companies where they either give you back the money, you have extra warranty, extended warranty, and all of that stuff which Amex offers, which I don't get through a debit card. So these are the two things which I basically say are the drawbacks of a Coinbase debit card. But I'm a different because I like the technology. I try to move most of my things to cryptocurrency side. But good discussion, Funny. So it actually brings out two sides of the coin, right?
I'll tell you one example. It just struck me, right? Robinhood. So when a lot of customers, especially investors, so the customer profile here is investors, right? So investor as a customer, when they do these transactions, they might be leaving the money in the app. Okay, so it could be Robinhood, it could be Coinbase, or any of these apps. So how would you make the customer? Like at the end of the day, as a product manager, I would want to make sure my customers use my app. Okay, when I want to do that, how would I make the customers keep the money there? Okay, my thought process of Coinbase is the same. It's the retention that they're looking at rather than making the customer get the rewards, my opinion. Okay. The reason for that is anyone who is continuing to do some transactions, at least I've faced this in the past. There is a lot of fear in the customers, right? The moment there is a fear, they take the money out. The moment that is gone, they bring the money in. So just to keep that fear to a lower extent, if there is an reward attached to it, like you get 1%, you get 2%. When something is attached for that customer, then the customer will think, okay, if I move it out right now, I only get 0.2% or I only get 0.5%. But here, even though it's cryptocurrency, I'm getting 4%. So that's one way for a customer to keep the money there.
That's right. Yeah.
I'm guessing that's the same philosophy that Robinhood went to as well.
Yeah.
The comparison. Yep.
Yeah, that's right. So Robinhood also, I think they basically have leverage trading. So they encourage people to store money there, and they basically lend that money to a different person for an interest. But they are offering you a lower interest. So, but anyways, that's also a retention policy, right? So I think now that you brought in the topic of Robinhood, right? So do you think Robinhood was late in the game for crypto? Because I think it was a big strategy for them where they kind of did a flashy of I think a teaser saying we are into crypto, but miserably failed, I guess, acquiring customers, and they've ended up with a lot of trouble on the crypto side. So what do you think? There's how what was the problem with the strategy there?
I'm on the same page that I think they are late into the game. They would have lost initial customers who might have gone to like Coinbase or any of the other exchanges. But given their brand name, I think they're back. I'll tell you some data points that I know of, right? The most used apps for cryptocurrency last year are still Robinhood and Coinbase. Cash App is there. It's still in the top, but the top two that are used in US is still Robinhood and Coinbase. So even though Robinhood came late into the game, but one good thing they did is they came really well. Their product was very strong, and I'll tell you this. So now the cryptocurrency market is very low, right? Okay. Coinbase laid off people. There are multiple other cryptocurrencies which literally went to zero. Have you seen any crazy news about Robinhood? About them struggling? I mean, overall as a company, the entire investment portfolio, the stocks and everything is down. So that way, Robinhood is also having issues. But I've never seen a customer saying, I'm worried about my crypto investments in Robinhood. So their brand strength and their customer loyalty is pretty good. And even if you go to the app right now, right? If I'm comparing Coinbase to Robinhood in terms of intuitiveness, the amount of details, etc., Robinhood would beat Coinbase like at a 10th level. Because if I want to go ahead.
Sorry. Yeah, go ahead. You complete and I can follow up.
The only thing that I want to add is investor as a customer, at least in my opinion, will be, if I do an NPS scale or whatever, would be much more confident with Robinhood than any of the other cryptocurrency apps or maybe any of the other investment apps as well.
Okay. So for me, yeah, for investing, I think Robinhood is my go-to. Like I'm a fan of that and all. But I have tried cryptocurrency in Robinhood. The problem is I was not able to send out of the cryptocurrency that I could only buy, and they have low fees, right? That was a selling point where I started. But even though Coinbase, charges me ridiculously high prices, like the charges are like really, really high, I'm still stuck with Coinbase just because they have more offering like staking and all of that stuff. Maybe if Robinhood as staking and all of these things, that could be my go-to app.
Now I see Robinhood as a bigger company, right? So being a bigger company, in order for them to keep that loyalty, or in order for them to make the customers happy, they need to make sure the product is very strong. I'm guessing that's why they're late into the market.
That's right.
But I think when they come, I think they would be a strong contender for anything.
Yeah. So
I want to add one more thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
I should have brought this up like when we were discussing cards. That's one of the things that I did recently. I got a Gemini credit card. Okay. I'll honestly tell this. I'm a big fan of whoever is the product manager there. The reason for that is they also have like a very nice gamification. Okay. So I'll give you an example. Amex credit card. We took a platinum card for my wife recently. The primary reason for that is the benefits, like let's say the lounges that you get, or some of the rewards that they get, etc. Do they pay for Spotify? No. Do this pay for? I'm blanking out. So there are a few other things. These guys thought very intuitively. So what else can I do for this customer so that they'll be interested in my credit card? Okay. And I
Yeah,
don't know if they have done this analysis or not. Like you started, right? Who is the targeted customer for cryptocurrency? Millennials. And what do the millennials use in terms of the apps or anything that they use? They use Spotify or they use Netflix. Can I buy the subscription? Can I pay the subscriptions of those which can make the customer interested in using my credit cards?
that's right.
Excellent thought. I don't know if they actually did the market research or not. Excellent thought.
Yeah, actually, even crypto.com does that. So what they do is they offer all free subscriptions for all streaming, right? It's Amazon Prime, Netflix, everything. You get everything, like whatever we need. And also, I think this is how product managers think, right? So now there is a generation who is growing up only watching YouTube and all of this stuff. They don't know what traditional TVs, like where I was brought up, right? Where you have channels you have to browse through. It's bits and now it's more of streaming and everything, bits and pieces you select and watch, right? So there is a generation of kids who don't even know how traditional television looks like. So I think that's a really good piece there. So funny. One other thing which I like about Gemini is, right. I think they have covered the user journey in such a way. So they offer. So I think they are staking first platform where they concentrate more on staking than anything. So they have, I think, 30, 40 staking offerings, and they offer a maximum of 8% APR. So that's a go-to platform for me for staking, right? So imagine me, so I've learned about staking and I know the benefits of staking. So it's basically putting some money and you get 8% interest back. I've read it online and searched for different apps. The first thing which Coinbase got covered me is whenever I look at that, I was like first worried about, so what if the cryptocurrency which I'm investing in loses its value, right? That's when Coinbase says, okay, every dollar of your staking is backed by a US dollar, and you are insured up to 125K. So that's like a user journey friction which Coinbase took out, saying, okay, you stake money, this is backed by US dollar, and you get the money back. So that's when I was convinced and started putting money in there, and I've been using it for the last 1.5 year, and earned a lot of interest. So I'm a happy customer of Gemini.
What does it entail? So, for example, right, if a company goes bankrupt, okay, maybe that is when it is backed that you will get the money. But let's say if the company still sustains and the value of the cryptocurrency goes from, let's say, $1 to 5 cents, I don't think they would be paying you.
So yeah, so there is a difference there. So there is a general cryptocurrency like stable coins. There are a lot of stable coins, right? But the specific stable coin which I invested is a Gemini dollar. So that's a cryptocurrency of the company, right? So
Okay.
I think that's the difference. So you have all maybe you might have heard there was a cryptocurrency who's a stable currency who maintains it at $1 went to zero
Is
because of the crash, right?
yeah. Is that Terra? I'm blanking out on that. Yeah.
Yeah, I think Terra, yeah, that's right. So that could happen, but I think that's what gave me the confidence in Gemini, right? So when I'm thinking through a user's journey and what might be the point where the user might drop, I think that's when you think of as a product manager to basically provide that value or confidence in them to go through the complete the journey and check it out and all of that stuff. Use the product. Yeah, pretty interesting, Funny. So maybe let's take a little segue, Funny. So there is this companies like Coinbase who does mostly storage, Gemini who does staking, and Crypto.com who offers credit cards. Each of the players in the crypto market are differentiating in a certain way. There is also Gemini on the other end who does like 100 different things through their app.
Mm-hmm.
So how do you take it as a product manager? Like, so when you build features, would you want to focus on one or two top features, or would you want to offer everything in the world which could be built, right? So I think there's a lot of distinction, but as a company, even Coinbase is doing better than Binance is doing better than Coinbase. So
Even if I ignore the companies as such, right? So crypto is an evolving world. Okay. The question that you asked me like some time back, do you think Robinhood is late into the game? Crypto in itself is, in my opinion, is very early stages. But that in itself, you told Robinhood is late into the game. So with that, even with that thought process, right? I believe a company should give more options rather than sticking to one. I want to add a clause to it though. So even though you have like 20 different features, you don't have to show all 20 different features to a customer. Like we were talking about earlier, right? Depending on where your customer is, show the relevant features to that customer so that that customer will continue to use your product. If you overwhelm a customer for a newbie to crypto, that person will be like, dude, I don't know what's going on here. I'm going to get out. But if you show minimum features that the customer wants and then add the additional features that you have, the customer will continue to stay with you as they grow.
Yeah, that's a fair point. So yeah, that's good. So also, I think this brings an interesting point here, right? So maybe doing experimentation is good as a product manager, where you maybe test out 10 different features, but also analyzing the results and also sunsetting what the features which are not performing good is also an important task, right? Because I think there's a lot of maintenance and tech debt that goes in if you keep maintaining the stuff which doesn't return the things which you want, right, from the customers.
Yep, that's correct. Yeah, but when I looked at the Binance app that you're showing right now, right?
Mm-hmm.
I could totally say that a novice would be super overwhelmed when they see that.
Yeah.
But for someone who has been using cryptocurrencies and who's knowledgeable about it, right? They'll be like, dude, this is exactly what I want. Because I can try out new things, I can explore new things, I can continue to earn money rather than just sticking to the fiat currencies and the old companies which are not giving me anything.
Yeah, that's right. Maybe they're targeting the expert users from other side of the world who are like really been doing it for so many years. Now they want all of the other terms, right? Yeah, that's right. Obviously, each so, but it's amazing how these products develop different things. Even though they are in the same space, they basically cater to the customer. I think again it goes back to the philosophy of customer centricity and what you're building to the customer and what problem you're solving. So
Yeah. And as a product managers, these are like really good examples to like um, think through and then see how we can like develop features for customers and stuff.
yeah, it's been a really good comparison, man. Even like you and me working the same space might have different contrasting views on how a product should go, how a product should build, and a lot of that. So that's pretty healthy there. Okay, so that's good. Let's maybe touch on another topic and we can end after that. So I'd say we have discussed a lot, right? We have discussed the industry and how different offerings and all of that stuff. But what do you think the future would look like? Like, what are the trends out there, and where could all of these companies innovate going forward?
Good question. If I think about it, right? So now what's happening is uh, a new world where the startups are trying to like do certain things. But now I think the way it would move to in the next 10 years is all the big players in the industry would start doing this. Okay. So for example, top players like let's say Chase, Wells Fargo, they have the money. They have the money to do anything. Okay. Anything in the fintech world can be dictated by them. If Chase changes something, that would dictate the entire industry. I think that is where it would move towards, where instead of individual customers or individual apps trying to figure out something, I think the big players would start coming into the industry and setting up the guidelines. Okay. And when I say the guidelines, right? How should the money be transferred? Are there any kind of protocols that we need to think about? Should every transaction go to blockchain, or without going to a blockchain, can I put something that can be utilized by someone to do money transfers? I think all of these laws, protocols, and guidelines would come into picture while the newbies try to explore all the new capabilities, new apps, and everything. So there would be a place, at least in the next 10 years, where a centralized place customers can trust and do transactions. And there would be a place where all the startups and everything can try to like explore new coins, metaverse, and everything, and build all of the new like smaller things. I think that's where it would be in the next 10 years, where there is a confident space where anyone can try, and different place where anyone can explore.
That's right. Yeah, I kind of agree with what all of you say. So I think for me, right, I think regulation is the biggest thing which would happen, right? So all of these scams should go away, and I think the more government tries to regulate this and adapt this, the more people will trust and all of that stuff. So regulation and trust is the next big thing I feel here, and the next one, as you said, right, institutional adoption. I've read a news that Coinbase is partnering with BlackRock, right, which is the biggest asset management company, to basically be able to offer their customers crypto. So they're seeing value in it. Institutional option is coming, and also I wish 401ks also cater to cryptocurrencies, where we can basically have a part of the 401k into cryptocurrencies. I think that's a ginormous market, right? When you look at the normal market, so that's pretty huge. So that's also actually brings in more money. And also the third thing is, I feel most players will concentrate more on the UX once they basically think there is a product market fit, right? So there'll be more and better intuitive ways of easily helping people use crypto. Something like how was internet in the early 2000s, right? How is internet now? It's more intuitive, right? People just log in and go to Google and search. Initially it was not that way, right? People didn't know how to do a lot of different things. I think the overall thing would move into that ways, but I see there is a lot of basically a scope in the DeFi space, is what I feel.
I like that thought actually. Simplification. A lot of simplification would come in crypto. I totally agree. Otherwise, it can't scale.
That's right. So I think people don't need to understand what's going in the back end, like how many blockchains, how many transactions are being settled. They basically have to get the thing they want to done. So if I want to maybe order a cab or a taxi using a decentralized platform, I should be able to do that. So irrespective of whatever is happening in the backend, being it a centralized organization or a decentralized organization, I should be able to basically value the use case which I'm trying to do and get value out of it. I think when crypto reaches at that point, basically people don't know if it's crypto or not. So everything, the normal world and crypto would coexist, but give the value to the user. I think that's the biggest piece I feel would be really good.
Nice.
Yeah, man. I think we can kind of this already went for an hour. We can maybe go for 2 more hours. Maybe we should do a second edition of crypto and all of this stuff. But it was a really good conversation, funny.
Yeah, not just second, actually. We should probably make this a series. Because...
a series, right? Talk maybe certain aspects of how Web3 cryptocurrency works as the technology emerges, right? Yeah.
True. Awesome. Love the conversation, Sidhu. This is great. Let's keep doing this. Yeah.
Okay, perfect.
Okay.